Caitlin Clark did react to this new flavor, but I just want to pull it up to you and show it to you guys here real quick. So this is going around. This is Caitlin Clark dropping this. It stated Caitlin Clark favorite flavor, Rainberry, bruh. The greatest flavor ever made is what Caitlin Clark captured this as on her Instagram, man.
Rainberry, that's the flavor. And within 48 hours of Gatorade announcing the limited edition bottle, stores across the Midwest weren't reporting steady sales. They were reporting sellouts, total inventory wipeouts. This isn't just another endorsement deal. This is Caitlin Clark reshaping how major brands approach women's sports. What makes this moment even bigger is what Gatorade hasn't loudly advertised. In its 60-year history, the company has never created a limited edition flavor for a WNBA player. Not Lisa Leslie, not Diana Taurasi, not Breanna Stewart, Caitlin Clark. That decision says everything about her market power. The bottle doesn't just feature her image. It builds a brand identity around her game. Raining Threes is printed right on the label, a direct nod to her signature deep shooting range. Gatorade didn't recycle an existing product. They created a flavor experience tied specifically to her style of play. That's rare territory. That's premium athlete marketing. That's the kind of treatment reserved for icons who transcend their sport. When a company builds product identity around a single move, it means the athlete isn't just popular, they're culturally dominant. And right now, Caitlin Clark is exactly that.
Release this. This is Caitlin Clark. My love for you has limitless range from Caitlin Clark. So this is what Caitlin Clark is said to all the fans for this year's Valentine's Day, man. But if you guys don't know, Caitlin Clark did make the team for Team USA, which is scheduled to take
Valentine's Day 2025 told you everything you need to know about Caitlin Clark's brand power. While other athletes posted generic holiday graphics, Clark's team rolled out a coordinated, multi-platform campaign with Gatorade that reportedly generated 8 million impressions in just 6 hours. The caption read, *, my love for you has no limits, just like my range. *, that wording wasn't random. It was strategic. It tied her personal voice directly to her on-court identity, her limitless shooting range, while reinforcing Gatorade's product messaging. That's not social media posting. That's precision brand integration. From a business standpoint, the numbers are even more striking. Clark currently holds endorsement deals with Gatorade, Nike, State Farm, Gainbridge, Xfinity, Buick, and Crown Royal. Industry estimates place her total endorsement portfolio between $28 million and $35 million. For perspective, that figure exceeds the entire salary cap for a WNBA team. Let that sink in. One player's off-court earnings could theoretically fund an entire roster. That's not just impressive. It's economically disruptive. It shifts the conversation around player value, league revenue structures, and compensation models. Clark isn't just benefiting from the system, she's exposing its gaps. When a single athlete's market power rivals franchise-level budgets, sponsors take notice. This isn't traditional endorsement growth. It's a structural shift in how women's sports, and individual stars within them, are monetized.
The footage that came out of yesterday of Caitlin Clark shooting off the dribble. And it looked good, man. It looked good. Looked like Caitlin Clark is definitely adding something new to her game. And I believe the NBA All-Star is tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully, we might see Caitlin. You know what I'm saying? That looked like my thumbnail a little bit. But it's cool. But
Now look at the workout footage that dropped on February 13th. Focus on her shooting form off the dribble. That's not Caitlin Clark's standard motion. The gather is tighter. The release is quicker. There's less dip before the shot. That adjustment isn't cosmetic. It's intentional. She's clearly working on speeding up her trigger, likely preparing for higher defensive pressure at the international level. And the timing of that footage matters. Team USA announced its roster for the March 11th exhibition games, and Clark didn't make the cut. The promotional push highlighted Aya Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Kelsey Plum. Those are established stars, proven veterans. The message from USA Basketball was clear. Experience first. But here's where it gets interesting from a marketing standpoint. FIBA, the International Basketball Federation, put Caitlin Clark front and center in their promotional graphics. Not Team USA. FIBA, the global governing body, recognized her draw, even if the national team program didn't feature her prominently. And the engagement numbers back that up. FIBA's social media posts featuring Clark reportedly generated 42% more engagement than posts highlighting the official Team USA roster. That's not narrative spin, that's measurable audience behavior. It shows where digital fan interest is concentrated. So while Team USA prioritizes roster construction and continuity, international basketball sees something else: a global marketing engine. The workout clip, the omission from the roster, and FIBA's spotlight all intersect at the same point. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a market force.
Paige Beckers were brutally exposed by Chelsea Gray last night during Unrivaled. It just looked bad. You know, Paige ain't got no defense at all. Check this out.
Has to lock her up. Draped all over Gray. Tries to get to her spot. A foul is called in the act of shooting.
Yeah. It was bad for Paige yesterday, y'all. She had 2 points.
She can't believe it.
Stormed out Paige stormed out the building. I didn't see this yesterday, but it made headlines.
This brings us to Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 league that launched in January, featuring 30 of the WNBA's top players competing in Miami. On February 13th, Chelsea Gray dismantled Paige Buchers in the quarterfinals, 11-2 in a one-on-one format. No teammates, no system, just isolation basketball. And the film doesn't lie. Watch Paige's defensive stance. She's flat-footed when Chelsea makes her move. There's minimal lateral burst, no early anticipation, and no recovery once she's beaten. Gray scored almost at will. And this wasn't a one-off. It was the second time in 3 weeks that Gray dominated Buchers in unrivaled competition. Now here's where it gets complicated. Paige Buchers is projected as the #1 overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. She's been marketed as the next face of women's basketball since her freshman year at UConn. Nike signed her to a multi-year endorsement deal before she ever played a professional game. For 4 years, the hype machine has been operating at full capacity. But Unrivaled exposed something college coverage often glossed over: her struggles against elite, physical defensive pressure when stripped of structured spacing. At UConn, the offensive system created advantages through screening, movement, and read-based execution. In a one-on-one setting, there's no weak side action to free you. No secondary creator to shift help defense. Chelsea Gray, 33 years old, surgically repaired knee and all, made the projected top pick look overwhelmed. That doesn't mean Paige isn't elite. It means projection and proof are two different things. And right now, Unrivaled is forcing that conversation into the open.
To the semifinals.
Paige Becker scored one bucket, bro.
With another.
One bucket, bro. Paige Becker immediately left after losing in the quarterfinals. Somebody said Paige Becker's getting whooped by 80-year-old Chelsea Gray for the second time in just a few weeks. Wow. 11-2. Chelsea Gray dominated over Paige 1v1. I still take Paige on my team before Gray.
Paige Buchers scored just one basket in an 11-point game. That's roughly a 9% scoring output in a race-to-11 format. An eye-opening stat in a setting built purely on individual skill. Social media wasted no time asking the uncomfortable question: is Paige truly ready for WNBA-level competition right now? Here's why this becomes tricky for the league. The WNBA has invested heavily in positioning Paige as a centerpiece star for the 2025 season. She's expected to help drive ticket sales, lift ratings, and attract corporate partners. But Unrivaled just delivered visual shareable proof of her struggling in isolation against a 33-year-old veteran point guard. And not once, twice. That doesn't erase her talent. But perception matters. Now compare that to Caitlin Clark's rookie WNBA season. Clark averaged 19 points and 8 assists per game while shooting 34% from 3. She broke the single-season assist record and helped lead the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance in 8 years. More importantly, she produced while facing defensive schemes specifically designed to stop her: box-and-one coverages, hard traps, full court pressure 40 feet from the rim, and constant physicality. Clark adjusted. She adapted. She delivered. The question isn't whether Paige Bueckers is talented, she clearly is. The real question is whether her game translates immediately to the physical, pace-heavy, defensive complexity of the WNBA. Unrivaled may not define her ceiling, but it has undeniably intensified the conversation around her readiness.
For one-on-one, same reason I don't think Cece will be particularly great in this kind of tourney. Her game is much more suited for 5-on-5. Yeah, but a lot of offensive players don't have great defense, but the way Chelsea's great is closed her. Look at this, man. Just bad. My goodness, bro. Slaughtered her right there. I don't know.
Watch the defensive possession again. Chelsea Gray forces Paige Bueckers to slide laterally, then crosses back against her momentum. Paige ends up 2 full steps behind the play. There's no recovery angle, no disruption at the hip, no instinctive counter once she's beaten. Against elite ball handlers, those fractions of a second matter, and Gray exploited every one of them. One social media comment summed it up. Asterisk, not everyone's game is built for one-on-one. That's the same reason I don't think Caitlin Clark would dominate in this format either. Her game is more suited for 5-on-5. Asterisk, there's truth in that. Clark's greatest weapon isn't isolation scoring. It's defensive manipulation. She bends coverages, stretches help defenders 30 feet from the rim, and creates passing windows most players don't even see. That's a 5-on-5 superpower. In pure isolation settings, some of that value naturally shrinks. But here's the key difference. Clark has already proven she can score efficiently against real WNBA defenses in meaningful games. She's produced under playoff pressure, against tailored schemes designed specifically to neutralize her. Paige hasn't played a single WNBA minute yet. And before stepping onto a professional floor, she's already facing viral clips showing defensive breakdowns in a lower-stakes setting. That doesn't define her future, but it does introduce risk. For whichever franchise selects her first overall in April, Unrivaled just added a new variable to the evaluation process: projection versus immediate readiness.
Looking spooky for Paige Bueckers today. I want to know you guys' thoughts down in the comment section, man. But you guys keep them bills on. I will be back with some new content today, so be sure to tune into it. Till next time, man, shake the head.
That 11-2 scoreline is going to follow Paige Bueckers into every draft room conversation. And honestly, it should. Because while Caitlin Clark is selling out limited edition Gatorade flavors and generating 8 million impressions in 6 hours on Valentine's Day, Paige was struggling to score against a 33-year-old veteran point guard in a 3-on-3 league that most casual fans barely follow. Fair or not, perception shapes business. And right now, the optics are stark. This situation reveals something bigger about the current state of women's basketball marketing. Hype doesn't always align with production. Since 2023, Paige Bueckers has been positioned as Caitlin Clark's equal, her rival, her counterpart, her co-face of the sport's future. Major networks ran side-by-side comparisons of their college resumes. Brands feature both in national campaigns. The narrative was clean and marketable. 2 generational stars rising together. But when you strip away the branding and look strictly at results, the gap becomes harder to ignore. Clark led Iowa to back-to-back national championship appearances, while breaking the NCAA's all-time scoring record. She averaged over 31 points per game as a senior. Then she transitioned to the WNBA and immediately produced 19 points and 8 assists per game, a rookie record for assists, and a playoff berth for a franchise that hadn't seen one in nearly a decade. That's not projection. That's documented production at every level. Paige's story is more complicated. Injuries disrupted her college career. She missed significant time. And now, before even stepping onto a WNBA court, she's being evaluated through the lens of Unrivaled, where a veteran in Chelsea Gray exposed clear defensive and isolation weaknesses. That doesn't mean Paige lacks talent. It means the narrative of inevitability is cracking. And that matters for the league. The WNBA is entering one of the most important growth phases in its history. In 2024, television ratings jumped nearly 50%. Attendance surged. Corporate investment reached record highs. Much of that momentum correlated directly with Clark's presence. Her games consistently delivered outsized viewership. Her road appearances turned arenas into sellouts. So when league executives map out the 2025 marketing calendar, they aren't just picking faces for posters. They're making economic bets. Paige Bueckers is projected as the #1 overall pick. That franchise will be expected to build around her. Sell tickets, secure sponsorship activations, justify primetime slots. The investment will be immediate and heavy. But what if her transition isn't smooth? What if the separation we saw in unrivaled, flat-footed defense, struggles in isolation, difficulty creating against physical pressure, shows up early in the WNBA? Professional defenses are more sophisticated than anything she saw in college. Rotations are faster. Help defenders are stronger. Schemes are more layered. In unrivaled strip-down one-on-one format, there was nowhere to hide. No weak side screen to free space. No secondary creator to shift defensive attention. It was skill versus skill. And in that environment she looked overmatched. Contrast that with Clark's rookie adjustment period. Teams threw box-and-one schemes at her. They picked her up 40 feet from the basket. They sent hard doubles on ball screens. They bumped her off spots. And she still produced at an all-star level. That's what separates projection from proof. Clark isn't just meeting expectations. She's redefining them. Gatorade created a custom flavor identity around her that had never been done for a WNBA athlete. National brands are integrating her into broader sports advertising ecosystems, including NBA broadcasts. Companies aren't just signing her. They're structuring campaigns around her. That's economic gravity. When one athlete's endorsement portfolio rivals or exceeds a team's salary cap, it forces uncomfortable conversations about value creation. Clark is not just benefiting from the league's growth, she is accelerating it. So the question becomes strategic. Is the WNBA building its 2025 marketing engine around the right pillars? There's understandable motivation to promote multiple stars. Competitive balance is healthier for long-term league stability. Rivalries drive engagement. A single-player dependency carries risk. But artificial parity doesn't fool fans. Fans respond to performance. They respond to authenticity. They respond to moments that feel earned, not manufactured. Right now, the measurable engagement gap suggests Clark sits in a tier of her own in terms of cultural pull. That doesn't diminish other players' skill. It highlights market reality. The unrivaled performances matter because they remove context. No elaborate systems. No structured spacing advantages. Just reads, footwork, counters, and defensive discipline. And in that setting, Chelsea Gray, on a surgically repaired knee deep into her 30s, looked like the superior, more complete player. That should spark development conversations, not dismissal. Paige has time. She has elite foundational skills. Her feel for the game is real. Her shot mechanics are polished. Her basketball IQ is strong. But readiness is different from potential. Drafting a player first overall means betting on both immediate competence and long-term ceiling. The unrivaled tape suggests there may be a developmental gap before she reaches franchise cornerstone status. Meanwhile, Clark has already validated hers. This is where league leadership faces a delicate balance. They can't afford another overhyped narrative that collapses under professional scrutiny. The league's recent growth is fragile. Viewers who tuned in because of Clark's record-breaking college run stayed because the professional product delivered intensity and star power. If marketing outpaces performance too aggressively, trust erodes. That doesn't mean Paige will fail. It means the expectations placed on her need calibration. Perhaps the smarter play is positioning her as a rising co-star, rather than an immediate savior. Let her grow into the spotlight instead of forcing the spotlight to justify itself. Because if she struggles early, and rookies often do, the internet will replay that 11-2 scoreline on loop. The narrative will harden quickly. And in today's digital environment, early impressions stick. The 2025 season will clarify everything. We'll see how Paige handles physical guards who fight over every screen. We'll see how she adjusts to tighter passing windows. We'll see whether her shot creation scales upward against WNBA athletes. And we'll see whether Clark continues expanding her footprint, both statistically and culturally. If Clark builds on her rookie year, the separation could widen. If Paige rises quickly and proves unrivaled was a misleading sample, the rivalry narrative regains legitimacy. But as of now, the measurable production, the marketing ROI, and the engagement data all point in one direction. There is Caitlin Clark, and then there is everyone else. That's not a dismissal of the league's talent depth. It's an acknowledgement of economic and cultural impact. The WNBA stands at an inflection point. It can anchor its growth strategy to proven production and organic fan response. Or it can lean heavily into projected narratives and hope performance catches up. History suggests that sustainable growth follows results. So when May arrives and the season tips off, watch closely. Watch how franchises allocate their promotional energy. Watch which games receive prime billing. Watch how rookies adapt when the scouting reports get specific and the defensive schemes get ruthless. And watch whether that 11-2 score line becomes a footnote or a warning sign. Because in professional sports, hype opens doors. Production keeps them open.